Hi, Esmeralda. I wanted to answer your question about 7.3. This, I guess, is question number 11. Actually, I don't know what question was. Oh, it was question 3 in your homework. So anyway, let's go over this question. So a clinical trial was conducted to test the effectiveness of a drug used for treating insomnia in older subjects. After treatment with the drug, 20 subjects had a mean wake time of 97.4 minutes and a standard deviation of 44.7 minutes. Assume that the 20 sample values appear to be from a normally distributed population and construct a 98% confidence interval estimate of the standard deviation of the wake times for a population with the drug treatments. And then you'll answer a question about whether or not that treatment is effective. So you have to find a confidence interval estimate for the standard deviation. Anytime you're finding a confidence interval estimate and we're looking for standard deviation, you do need to use chi-squared. You were given the standard deviation right here. This is the sample standard deviation. And you were told that this treatment was done with 20 subjects. So this is where you're getting your degrees of freedom. Since there are 20 subjects, we do 20 minus 1, and the degrees of freedom will be 19. We also know that we need a 98% confidence interval estimate. So 98% is where we're going to go to our table. Now, sometimes it puts a little link here to the chi-squared table. This time it did not. So I want to show you how to find that table on your calculator. So let me see if I go to your calculator. Okay, so anyway, this is the formula we're going to be using, which is on page 335. So we need to find the right tail, chi-squared, and the chi-squared for the left tail. So we need to find those two values. The n minus 1 is going to be 20 minus 1, so it's 19. And s squared was that 44.7 from the problem. Let me scroll down and see if you can see that. So 44.7 is what we're going to use for s, and then we'll square it. And we're going to use 98% in the chi-squared distribution. Okay, so let me show you how to find those distributions. So I'll get out of the textbook. Back to the main menu. So what you need to do is you need to scroll to the textbook again. So click on this link. And all of the tables are in Appendix A. So I'll click on Appendix A. And I'll click Chapter Opener. And I'm waiting for it to load. So this is the first appendix, so we just need to move to the chi-squared. So it goes through the normal, and then the t, and then we come to chi-squared. So remember that the degrees of freedom was 19, right? And because we needed a 98% confidence interval, that means there's 0.02 on the left side and the right side. So if I divide 0.02 by 2, I get 0.01. So this is my chi-squared for the left tail, 7.633. And I'm going to go to 0.01, and 36.191 is that chi-squared for the right tail. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to put those in my calculator. Okay, so I'm using that formula from the textbook, the square root of n minus 1 s squared over the right tail. That's the one we'll do first. So n minus 1, remember, was 19. And I'm going to multiply that by the standard deviation squared. So that was 44.7. Whoops, I typed too many decimal points there, so let me fix that. So it's 19 times 44.7 7, and that was squared. I'm going to get that answer, and then I'm going to divide it by the right tail. The right tail is 36.191. Okay, so that's the chi-squared for the right tail. Now that's what it is squared, so I'm going to raise that to the 1/2 power. I'll put 0.5 so I can find the square root of it. And that is going to be the left side of our interval. So the left side of that interval is 32 point, I think it said round to 2 decimal places. So 32.39. Okay, so now we're going to find the right tail, side of the confidence interval. So it's 19 times 44.7 squared. Shoot, I timed to put a plus there, sorry. So that's a time sign. So 19 times 44.7 squared. And then we're going to divide that by the left tail, which was 7.633. That's the number we got from this table. And then we'll take the square root of that. And so the right side of our interval is 70.52. So if I go back to the homework, I'll put those numbers in there. So the left tail is 32.39. That's what we got on our calculator. And 70.52. And those are the answers. I hope that helps. So the key there, remember, is to find that, let me pull up the right one. So find the chi-squared values in the table. Remember, the degrees of freedom is going to be 1 less than the sample size. So the sample size in that problem was 20, so that's why we used 19. And then when you take that confidence interval, which remember the confidence interval was 98%, what you have to remember to do is take, 1 minus 98%, or 1 minus 0.98 is 0.02. Divide that by 2 and subtract that from 1, and that's where you figures out what column you're going to use. So we have 0.01 on each side. So the left side is going to have and be in this column where it's 0.99, and the right side is going to be in the column where there's 0.01. I hope that helps. Email me back if you have any more questions.